So welcome back, guys. Today I'm just going to be explaining some bits of ICC. So what do you see underneath this zone? This was the previous level of support. What happened? Price came above this zone, showing you that there is a chance for price to continue selling. Okay. So what happens after price makes the indication? Wait for the corrective move. Okay. So the corrective move can go all the way to the top. It doesn't matter. Okay, this is what they call the corrective move. We know that underneath that level, but after the corrective move, we know that price, as long as it comes underneath this level, we are starting to sell. The first tip is gonna be at the area where we had the first level of reaction. So this was the first level of reaction over here. Let me first remove this. Okay, so if price comes underneath this same zone, we know that price can potentially reach this level. So if it comes back the second time, we take our entries for sales. Okay, so as simple as that. We also see the same thing over here. What happened? Underneath this zone, we know that price is going to sell. What happened? Price gave us the indication, then it came back with a pullback. It came back with a pullback. Then after we had some bit of a consolidation, but we know that underneath this zone we are selling. So eventually price came underneath the zone and then we started selling off. So our main aim right now is to simply wait for price to come underneath the zone the second time, then we start taking our entries for sales. Nothing complicated, nothing crazy. I've been telling you guys, ICC is nothing complicated, bro. There's nothing complicated. You only complicate it in your mind, because your mind is always looking for solutions to every single problem. Because I'll tell you for a fact, if price comes underneath this zone, once more again, I'll take my entries for sales. Stop loss is gonna be just above the area of confluence above, maybe like support and resistance level, supply and demand zone, whatever the case may be, depending on the trend. But right now, I'll take in my sales. Once price comes up underneath this same zone, I'll take in my sales and then hold price to the top, to the bottom. Okay, so what happens now? Now what I'm waiting for is for price to do one of the two things. Okay, so it can pull back, which is okay, but if it breaks this higher low, that's an indication that it wants to buy. So price can do this, and most people will be scared, be like, "Ooh, but now what happened? I thought that price, once it broke through, it had to always come and push lower." No, my friend, price can do whatever it wants. We're not in control of the market. As I've told you before, we're just trying to go along with where market is going. Okay, because once price comes underneath, we know that we're going to sell. But if price comes above, that is the first indication that we're going to buy. That's the first indication that price is turning what? Is turning bullish. Okay, but if price comes underneath this level, we are good for sales. We're actually begging it to go underneath so that we can take in our sales. If you observe us30 from the H4 perspective, you see that price has been somehow bullish, but we have been picking momentum ever since. Okay, so we have a level of support over here. So this was the first level of support that we have, and we know that price can potentially retest that level of support before you have another push to the upside. Also over here, if you observe over here, if you observe over there, price came and then made a higher high. Okay, so this was a strong level of support. What happened? Price came underneath this zone. So you know that anything underneath this zone is very good for sales. So that's the first indication. Okay, but we also know that from the H4 perspective, if you go to the H1, we know that anything underneath this zone is good for sales from the H1 perspective anyways. So what do we expect? I expect that from the M5 perspective, once price goes underneath this zone the second time, I should take in my sales. There's no question about that. So you see that price has come underneath the zone, so that means that I have the ability now to start stacking in my sales. I'll sell. Let's say it will be 5, okay? And then the stop loss for this one, I'm gonna put it at the next level of support, which was above there. So if price comes and takes out that level of support, I'll gladly be out of the market. So it will be at 47631, okay? So it will be 47631. So you guys subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out any of these videos. I'll be making as many as you can so that you guys can understand the simplest price action right now. Anyway, so we have another level at 47532. So that will be my first TP. Okay, and then for the second TP, I'll go back to the basics. The second TP, I'll go to the H4, because the H4 is giving me direction. Okay, so the second TP will be around this area where I've marked my arrow over here. So that will be around 47,449. 47,449. So I'll enter in another position for sell, but this time it will be a little bit low risk. Okay, so 47,45. The level over here, what was it again? It was 47,463. So for this one, the TP will be 47,463. Okay. So you may ask me again, Kevin, why didn't you wait for price to just make a new lower low? Then you would have entered your positions. I'll tell you for a fact, I've been observing ICC for some good time, and I know that if price comes above that level, I'll be out of the market, because I know that it makes no sense for me to hold price if it comes above that level. We know that price would have turned bullish. Okay, where is that my stop loss? Because I've seen and observed from the market momentum that we are likely to first of all push to the level of support before we have another indication for a sell. So I'll gladly hold this trade from the H1 perspective, and then if price goes underneath, I'll be placing in more entries. So let me just show you guys how I do it. So I'll be placing in more sell positions at 45,577. Okay, so we shall have a sell limit, a sell stop. So the price will be 45,577. Okay, and the lot size will be 1, of course, and then after that we shall just enter the position there. Okay, why have we put our stop loss above? Because we know that if price manages to cross above, because this is a corrective move, we had to wait. Patience, my friend. Patience is a very huge thing even for me right now. But yeah, let's wait and see, because after the corrective move we are likely having a continuation, but the continuation should always come underneath the zone. That's where we shall take our entries. So we shall have another sell for 47,581. So this will be 47,581. Okay, so here we shall put 6 lot size of 6 for sales, and yeah, let's wait and see what price gives us. But so far for us30, that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking for sales. Okay, and I'm waiting patiently for these sales to happen, because price has shown me, it has not given me any indication. Okay, so if you guys want a safer stop loss, you can put it above this area over here. So it will be at 47, so it will be around a few pips above, so that will be 47674. 47674. So that will be my stop loss. Okay, and then I'll be holding price until we reach that level over there. But as I've told you, from the H4 perspective, you can hold this trade until we reach the next area of confluence, which is there down here. So we shall just simply have to wait for price to give us another continuation move to the downside. So then at the end of the day, that's what ICC is all about. It's about making continuation patterns and then trading when price gives you the indication that it wants to sell even more. Okay, so yeah guys, thanks for watching. I guess I'll see you guys next week. Not next week, but I'll see you in the next video. Okay, because I'll be explaining most of this stuff in the next coming videos so that you guys can understand. But I'll be updating you guys on this trade, so stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned on this trade. I'll be updating you, and yeah, let's see what price gives us. But for this one, let's modify order. Stop loss will be at 47674. Okay, that will also be my stop loss for this one. Okay, so all you have to do right now is wait for price to start pushing lower, and then after that we shall take profit. But if price fails to push lower, we shall gladly close out with a stop loss above, and then we shall call it another day. Okay, yeah, I will see you guys soon. Peace.